Cage-free mechanic here. Back at it. Nice sunny warm day. You know, it's been winter time. I just work in parking lots, so I hadn't done too much throughout the winter. You know, plus we have baby at home. But getting back out there to it feels good. You know, we fix cars for free on here. You know, mainly in parking lots on the side of the road. You know, we have the whole Sharing Collective free store where we, on Thursdays, there's a free store and free kitchen, and then we do free car repair in the parking lot. But you know, this is only people that could get to us, could drive to us. I was just going through my inbox now that I'm kind of getting back to it for the year. I got like 200 people on my waiting list that need me to come to their house. That's the people that really need me, you know, people that can't drive, can't get their kids to school or get to work or got an Uber just to get groceries. You know, reading these messages, holy. So it's exciting to be able to maybe be getting back to helping those folks. I'm going to do an all-day brake fix-a-thon coming up soon. And so I've been away, you know, for the winter. But now I don't hear too much. Holy, these last few months, the world's been going through it out there. Gee. Lots of stuff going on. You know, it feels like everything is crumbling, it's falling apart, it's just in chaos. You know, especially, you know, they got everybody kind of just convinced that this system, this way of life that we're in is the only way. Super hyper individualized way of life, you know, where you have to go across town to work your job so that you can afford to pay somebody to fix your car, so that you can get across town to work your job, so you can pay somebody to watch your kids, and, you know, all this whole thing. You know, they've broken up community, they've broken up us looking out for each other. And so all that's crumbling. Late stage capitalism structure, you know, all the infrastructure. So everybody that's all they know, you know. Of course it feels like the whole world's crumbling, you know. But you know, that's why it's one of the most important now is this building community, you know, like what we've got going on here with Cage-free Mechanic and with the free store and Food Not Bombs and the community garden. And you know, you shouldn't have to be taking your kids off to a daycare. You should be taking them to community with aunties and uncles. You know, we take our baby up to the free store and there's a whole bunch of aunties and uncles excited to hold her and watch her while I'm working on cars, while the person whose car I'm fixing is inside cooking in the kitchen, and the person they're feeding is sorting the clothes out on for the free store. Where did this go? How long has this been sitting down here? Okay. So yeah, it seems like everything's crumbling apart, but that's not, you know, the things that are crumbling apart are the things that have not been serving us. You know, the things that have been keeping us from being able to thrive. You know, the things that have been encapsulating the earth, humanity, you know, stopping us from being able to step into our power, our own agency, our authenticity. You know, that's the stuff that's crumbling away. So that's great, you know, it's like this, it's like the cocoon or the chrysalis that the earth has been going through this grand transformation. You know, it feels like she's in turmoil. She's running fever, wildfires, and record tornadoes and hurricanes and earthquakes and polar vortexes and this and that, and going haywire. The Schumann resonance, the resonant frequency of the earth is fluctuating. It's moving out of this 7.83 steady that it's been. It's because she's waking up and breaking free of this adversity in which she was evolving. That chrysalis, that chrysalis was her. That was the cells of her body, but that's what she was there to hold her in as she went through this. And now she's waking up. We're waking up. Humanity is waking up and stepping into this new chapter, and we're breaking free of the things that weren't serving us. So it's nothing to freak out about, or to let your nervous system just run wild, or to be like tuning in to every day's the next level of how everything's gone to hell. No, everything's going great. The earth's waking up. We're all waking up. We need to step into that. The more we step into that and recognize that together, as those things crumble away, we're all going to be right here to be fine and to thrive. People think that they've convinced us that nobody would want to do any of this kind of stuff if it wasn't for money. If they didn't have a debt at home and have to go pay the bills and have to go pay so much money for food, which grows freely from the earth, that if we didn't have to have the money to do that, then you couldn't get anybody to do this kind of stuff. Oh, I better put the battery back on though. No, it's not at all true. I know hundreds of people that love to, they don't have to go across town to do the work, to pay for the food, and to pay for someone to watch their kids, and to pay the rent and all these things. If you don't have that, I know so many people that will do the grunt work, that will do crappy work. We built earth houses in South Dakota, earthbag houses on 110 degree days. It's a hard work, hard manual labor, just like digging dirt and rocks. And we stay the winter in it. They have to be going out in 7 feet of snow to an outhouse and coming back inside and still building the inside. And we love it. And people will take off to work all year just to save up their vacation time so they can come help. I've been at camps where people love to volunteer and jump up to go dig the outhouse hole. Yeah, people will love to do stuff because it's what's on your heart, just helping out your community. It's way easier to want to get up and do something crappy, digging an outhouse hole for some elder that's staying over in that camp over there. You jump up and do it. If you had to jump up and do it for money, for dollars, for some corporation that's then charging that elder to live there, and that's when it becomes where you don't want to do it. Yeah, we're meant to live in community. We're meant to be taking care of each other. I could fix a car without even thinking sometimes. If we're with a coat hanger with JB Weld, or take it off and then realize they don't even need new brakes. That one video I've got where they thought they needed brakes, it was going to be hundreds of dollars for a brake job, and I pull it off and it's just the clip is bent up, and because whoever did it didn't do a great job. And just kind of straighten that clip out and grease it, and it worked just fine, So it takes me a half hour to fix something sometimes with no parts. Don't even need anything. But it saved that person, a week, 2 weeks worth of pay. And then they would love to go volunteer in the free store, go in the kitchen. While I'm not working on their car, they're volunteering in the kitchen because they would love to. But they don't have to, be a slave to this whole thing. Have some faith in humanity. Have some faith in people. People like to think the worst of people. And that's just because of that's what the system does, is it makes you have to call on that worst part to be able to survive. People want to think the worst of people. People have lots of good things that they want to do. I'm sure you have great things that you want to do. If you didn't have to work, I'm sure you have great things. People all the time are like, I would love to come out and help you build these earth houses out on the res, or come out and help you do this car stuff, but I have to work. I got bills to pay. All the whole system, it works without the money. If we still could grow food and put it on a truck and take it to store and people could come pick it all out, and all that's the infrastructure of that still works without money. You know, money is just a way for us to be able to, you know, have tit for tat within the society and to make things work or function. There's not like a machine that the money feeds into. The stuff still works, you know. You come to the free store, you get something free. You take it home, you come work in the kitchen, you get your free food. You know, I fix a car for free. You don't have to give me money, you know. People brought us all kinds of baby stuff, baby supplies. We didn't have to hardly buy anything. You know, have some faith in people, you know. I have faith in you, you know. I trust that if you're watching this, that you're into, you know, you'd be into helping however you could. You know, a lot of people will say, I wish I knew how to fix cars, I'd come help you. You know, but you know how to do something. You know, like that, looking for somebody now, somebody is gonna help me start answering emails, because that's what they can handle, and I'm not good at that, you know. And I've got so many people that are hitting me up, and so really I want somebody to help me develop an app so that I could take this 200 person waiting list that I have and put that into an app that with a map that I can have on my phone. So I get done now, like I'm done now, and I'll probably have like another half hour before I have to be at my afternoon gig where I do after school stuff. And so then I could go stop by their house. There's probably somebody, if I had that on an app, on a map, there's probably somebody right over here, but I don't know that by just looking at my emails. It's like way too much to fish through to find where they are. But so then if I go over there, so somebody's probably got that app, and they could develop that in probably a half hour. It's probably something easy. Or if I tried to like sit down and do it, it would take me, you know, forever, and I could probably change their oil way faster than they could. Anyway, well, I'm gonna get off here. I think I'm gonna hop on live stream. I've been starting to try and do that, and so as I'm like trying to start knocking off some of this waiting list that I have, then I can also just pull over. If I see someone on the side of the road, can pull over and help them. You know, coat hanger up their exhaust. A lot of things are just rusty as can be. Exhausts are hanging down and dragging, and so I'll either just take it off and throw it in their trunk, or I'll wire it with the coat hanger and JB Weld. It'd be cool to get sponsored by JB Weld or O'Reilly's, or, you know, I got a Patreon, Cage Free Mechanic, so you know, people support on there. And then if we could, you know, like this all day brake fix-a-thon, if I could buy brakes, or if when I pull on the side of the road, if I could just buy the part for the person. If I could go to O'Reilly, buy whatever they need, buy their alternator, put their alternator in, save them that entire like tow bill, having to figure out even what's wrong with it, having to pay. They wanted to charge $750 to change this alternator on this Subaru. You know, if we could fix that, then that empowers them to be able to do their service for the community, whatever that is. Even if that service is just taking care of their family, you know, because them not taking care of their family is not good for anybody, you know. You know, they've got us so separated and individualized, because that's how they, you know, keep us disenfranchised and keep their money rolling in. Anyway, check me out on Patreon if you want to support. I did a live stream. I'm trying to live stream on there some too. My other channel, Stylish Transient, I've published 4 novels that are free online, except Amazon. You have to pay for them on Amazon. Check them out. I do a free Earth House project, Unsheltered Earth, where we build earth bag houses in South Dakota. I got a few things going on. Opila, thank you. Thank you for being here. Now, you know, this is a new thing for this channel. I had all my shorts where it was just like, you know, fast paced. We're fixing this, we're doing that. Now I'm kind of messing around with live streaming. Now I'm gonna maybe start popping on here, sharing just a little bit of, you know, the philosophies a little bit behind why I do what I do. And, you know, and I trust that I'm called to places for a reason. I'm called to hear and share these words with you, or I'm called to work on this car or that car. If I drive, you know, there's somebody on the side of the road up there, and I trust that I cross paths with them for some reason, you know. And that's a thing, you know, just understanding that as we're weaving this mosaic, this grand tapestry all together, you know, every little interaction you have, every little path you cross, you know, we're tying that tapestry. You're like this thread of experience, of time, of moments of time into a thread that's tying together this whole thing. And so each and every little interaction, you know, enter that with love and with radical generosity and understanding that they're just a reflection of you, because we're all just those same threads of source of creation pouring through this whole mosaic. And the more that you help their day, you know, you see them as you help their day go along, you know, and they can help somebody else's day, and it comes back around. It's like, really, God, it's like miraculous how stuff comes back around. We built this whole earth bag house without any money. I went out to South Dakota. I didn't have any helpers lined up. I didn't have any of the supplies lined up there. I said, how are you going to figure all this out? And I just trusted, you know, I knew that I needed to go. That was on my heart, and showed up. And yeah, we built this whole house for, everything was donated, with people driving from across the country, you know, high school groups coming in, people driving supplies from all over. We spent like $500 to build a whole house that we survived 7 feet of snow and blizzards. And just trusting, you know, trusting what's on your heart, and trusting that the more that you live from your heart and your authenticity and pour your goodness into the world, that's going to enable others to pour their goodness into the world. And we're at a time of the world where we need a lot of goodness poured in. You know, there's a lot going on out there, and we want you dysregulated, your nervous system dysregulated, and they want you thinking it's all falling apart and stressing and worried and looking out for yourself. But they're not expecting us to be looking out for each other. They're not expecting us to be doing this, you know. They're not expecting us to win, but we're winning. We've already won, you know. This is it. They've lost. It's crumbling apart. They're like on their last little scratches, trying to just hang on. You know, every single time I fix a car for somebody and see the joy and light and the, you know, relief that is brought into their life, you know, that warms me. That's a blessing to me to be able to do this work. Holy. Anyway, I better go. I'm gonna see if this thing cranks up. Check out our Patreon. Check us out on the live stream. Check out the Sharing Collective free store every Thursday, 2 to 5:30. Toledo. Check out Stylish Transient and my other books. Subscribe and like and all that, if it cranks. All right, it was a close one there. I didn't know if I was gonna do it. Holy, good one. Anyway, good to know you. Good to know your relatives. Do the work that's on your heart. It's time. It's time.